night, 2 games. We already got a couple of COVID cases, so we'll see what happens. And everyone's going to make the playoffs this year, so it's going to be awesome. But first, let's talk a little hockey. Release the Kraken, I guess, right, guys?
Yes, release the Kraken.
Not original, but Seattle, 32nd team in the league, is going to be named the Seattle Kraken. A lot of people, including our next guest, predicted it. And away we go.
Yeah, I'm excited, personally. I know some, I think, honestly, I think if you don't like this, you don't have a sense of humor, and you're a wet blanket, personally. First of all, they did a great job marketing this. That little teaser last night, Noel and I were dissecting like a Star Wars film. And then today, too, with the whole introduction, really well done. They really put some thought into this. Having jerseys already is fantastic. Already having the jersey come out. The logo, it pays homage to the original Seattle Metropolitans. Has a tentacle come up with the red eye. The anchors on the sleeves with the Space Needle, and the color scheme is fantastic. I think they hit a home run.
I agree. I love the colors. I love the logo. The full uniform visually, for just the optics of seeing it on the ice, it's going to be awesome. And the crack house is going to be rocking.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
Crack house with the crackheads. Also, hello, Michelle. Hello, Eva. And hello.
Oh, we seem to have lost Dan.
Yeah, it's not polite to point, Dan. So whenever you get back, come with it. But in the meantime, let's bring in our first guest from ESPN, the senior writer and host of Puck Suit, Greg Wyshynski. Greg, what's going on?
How are you? It's great to be here. Yeah, the Kraken school. The only thing about the colors that I didn't like is that in the lead up to the name, the colors they were using to promote all their stuff were like a salmon and a light blue. And like that was going to be the most unique color scheme maybe in sports. And like they teased it so hard that I thought it was going to be somewhere in this jersey, and it wasn't. And I also have an issue with the fact that like you could go either one of two ways if you're a Seattle team. You could honor the emerald cityness of Seattle, like the Sonics did, like the Sounders do with their logo, or you could go over to the Mariners side, which is I think where the Kraken ended up, is sort of that shades of blue stuff, which is fine. It looks great. I guess maybe my preconception of the colors and then maybe my own hang-ups about Seattle branding make me maybe give it like an 8 on the scale if we were going to put it on the 1 to 10 scale.
Right, and this presentation was a lot better than Vegas's. We didn't see Vegas.
Oh my God, what a disaster that was!
But I think Vegas recovered nicely after that. So
yeah, Stanley Cup final appearance will fix a lot of that.
And also, if your first jersey and logo gets an 8, that's probably better than 75% of the league. So I think that's a good start.
The one you mentioned, the one with the it looks like an anchor, but I actually think it's sort of like a fish hook with the Space Needle coming down. I think that's like better than a third of the primary logos we have in the NHL right now. Like it's pretty tight. And the owners of the Seattle group said that they're planning on already putting out a third jersey, another alternate jersey. So I got to imagine that secondary logo is going to be featured prominently on one of those designs. So it's pretty good. Like it's really hard in this day and age to find something that from the name to the colors to the logo to the jerseys, like Michael said, like got across the board pretty high marks. There were some detractors for a couple of things. Like for example, Kraken was never really top of the pops when it came to the names the local fans were into. Like they were much more into Sockeyes. They were much more into Metropolitans. So that was one thing. And by the way, the Metropolitan story, my colleague Emily Kaplan wrote about it today. Hilarious. So the owners wanted Metropolitans. They're like let's go back because that was the name of the original franchise in Seattle. And there's a Metropolitan division in the National Hockey League right now. It's where the New York teams play and everybody else. And so Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL, is like, well, we'd rather not change the name of the division. I'm like, who cares? It's a lousy name for a division anyway.
Yeah.
And so that's why they couldn't go with Metropolitans. And the only other issue was that, and I discovered this today the hard way, as you mentioned, Crackheads, Crack House, these are all going to be names that are going to be used in perpetuity. But there is a large segment of people who pointed out to me that crackheads has a lot of racial connotation to it. Some people find it to be a sort of a very divisive term, and I think that there's going to be pushback if the team decides to travel down that road for branding. There's going to be pushback. I don't imagine they will. It'll probably be a fan-driven thing, but it's a tread lightly situation, as I discovered today.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, especially now.
Yeah, especially in Seattle with the way things going up there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all these names are more original than the Washington football team, as Lori suggests here.
I mean, yeah, it's
temporary. Come on.
Yeah, it's like they went all Bird Box, boy, girl, national,
Washington football team.
But what are you going to do? Well, let's talk a little bit on the ice. The awards came out, and our pre-show meeting a couple days ago, I made a case for Connor Hellebuck that should have been the top 3, and I saw after I mentioned that, I saw your tweet about you had Hellebuck as well. So, why should he be in the top 3?
Well, a lot of people don't like putting goaltenders up for MVP because they believe that goalies could be up for MVP every year. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I understand.
They have their own trophy.
They have their own trophy.
Right, and it's the Cy Young argument, right? It's like, why should we give a pitcher MVP? Like, or it was always like the relief pitcher. Like, relief pitcher should be the MVP because they can win the Cy Young. And I understand that mindset. I also understand the mindset of like, the times when goalies have won the Hart Trophy have been in situations where it's been obvious. They win the Vezina, they win the Hart. It's a bad hockey team. Dominic Hasek, right? Like, would be a good example of propping up the Sabres back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I think Hellebuck is in that category, though, of taking the Winnipeg team that lost 4 of 6 defensemen last summer. His numbers, especially if you go into the advanced analytics for goaltenders, his expected goals saved above replacement was like light years ahead of guys like Tuukka Rask. Really had a special season, and I think special enough where he could have gotten that regard that we had given to the Carey Prices and Jose Theodores in the past of being a cut above the other goaltenders. But again, it was a really crowded field this year, especially with the expanded playoffs, getting Panarin in there. So it's understandable he didn't make the cut, but I think he was in my top 3 for the Hart.
I think that's a really good argument. I really do. And with all that being said, though, they were still barely a playoff team, as great of a season as he was having. So I guess that's probably like when Price won it or Hasek won it, those teams had pretty good playoff runs, if I recall, or Theodore won it as well. I guess also with all that being said, I look at the year that Draisaitl had. I look at the year that McKinnon had.
Mm-hmm.
And in Panarin too, even though I know Noel is the bitter Islander fan, I'm an Islander fan too. I know it's fine. I know we feel a little jaded, but I think the Rangers could be a 10 to 15 win team without Panarin. He had that big of an impact on the team. Everything that they were missing on the ice and in that locker room, Panarin was that guy. So I think with 3 great candidates, I think I don't have a problem with Hellebuck not being there. Now, if we go back a couple of years ago when Hall won it and Hellebuck had that kind of year, I would have no problem with him winning it.
Well, and the thing about it, like you mentioned,
nothing against Taylor Hall. I know you're a Devils fan.
And he deserved it.
He did.
It's a messed up year. Like, everybody but like Buffalo and Detroit are in the playoffs, right? So it's like at some point you got to look at it and say, and the Kings of too, yeah. You got to look at it and say, well, the landscape kind of shifted under our feet when it came to these awards. As the Edmonton fans know, I'm somebody in the past that has been a very strict, you got to be in it to win it Hart Trophy guy, and that's just not me saying it. You can go back in the history of the award. And there was only like one time, Mario Lemieux back in the 1980s, when somebody who finished outside the playoffs won the Hart Trophy. And that was only a situation where the Penguins missed it by like a point. So the fact that they expanded the field, I think, changed it a little bit in the sense that in a normal year, no, Panarin's not a Hart Trophy finalist,
right? Because
the team wouldn't have been a playoff team. But the Rangers being drafted into the postseason as they were, I think opened the door for that to be considered. And like you said, I mean, you look at the numbers, especially even strength 5-on-5 scoring this year. My God, Panarin was very much an MVP level performer for the Rangers.
Now, do you see? Because personally, I think
we're talking about the Hart for more than 5 minutes, and no one's mentioned Connor McDavid. pretty funny.
That is true. I feel like, do we have to legally do that?
I think so. I think it's a legal obligation to just say, oh, by the way, another guy who's lurking around.
It's like the Jordan Pippen rule, though. You can't have two. You can only have one guy, right? So like it's Draisaitl's turn this year, right. and then we'll figure out. But and to Draisaitl's credit, he did a lot of that statistical heavy lifting at 5-on-5 away from McDavid. Although I think that my friends in Edmonton they just kind of push aside the fact that they both play on the power play to the side, even though that was a huge influence on his point total overall. But you're right. I mean, McDavid's a name that's kind of a weird one in this mix because it's hard to say, well, this guy, especially with the way we think about the Hart Trophy, this guy was the reason his team was elevated to a certain level. Oh, by the way, there's also this God level NHL talent plays on his team as well that was only a few points behind him in the point standings.
Now, can we talk about the other guy? Because no one's brought him up either. Nathan MacKinnon, because I think he's going to end up winning it. Had a lot of success this year. I mean, should have won it 2 years ago. I thought when Taylor Hall won. State his case, correct?
Well, his case is a lot like it was in the Taylor Hall year, where he finished an incredible amount of points higher than the next highest leading scorer on the team, Cale Makar. I think it was in the neighborhood of 40 or 50 points. Because the Avalanche were tremendously injured this year, including Mikko Rantanen and Gabe Landeskog from McKinnon's own top line. So at the end of the day, he stayed healthy. He piled up points. The argument against McKinnon, there's two of them. One, the point total he had wasn't as high as your Draisaitl or your Panarin or Pasternak for that reason, or McDavid for that matter. The other thing too is if you look inside the numbers this year, he had a bit more help than maybe you would anticipate based on the point totals of his teammates. It's just that those guys kept on getting hurt here and there, so their point totals weren't all that high. Panarin, yeah, you could look at him and say that Mika Zibanejad was very, very important on that team as well as far as his point total, his points per game total in particular. But you go beyond that, and it's a bit of a wasteland. And keep in mind that, like, at least McKinnon for a good portion of the season did have Landeskog and Rantanen play with him. Panarin skated with Strome, and it's not to disparage the guys that he played with, but he definitely elevated his line mates, who I think were average at best, to being something beyond that. So I'm a little bullish on McKinnon on my ballot, but I think you're right that overall it's going to be a situation where it wouldn't surprise me if he wins outright, just because of the impact that he had with all those guys injured this year.
Before we get to the calendar, I just want to hit the live chat here. Jackie says hi from Manhattan Beach. Do you know her, Barkan?
I do not.
Okay. And also Zachary Fogelman, I believe that's your child, Noel, wants a Seattle jersey. So you're going to have to get on that later tonight.
Trust me, he wants a lot of jerseys.
He wants everything. I know, the stickmonger. This kid has like 35 NHL hockey sticks. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, he's the only kid who has a Cleveland Browns jersey, a Detroit Lions jersey, and a New York Jets jersey.
Jesus.
We gotta sit this kid down.
He's probably the only person, not kid, person alive. So let me that's that.
He's a lover. He's a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
He's definitely not a fighter. All right, let's get to the calendar real quick. I feel like it's a 2-horse race here with Makar and Hughes. I mean, it's not often we see defensemen come in that young and make such an instant impact. Are you leaning either way there?
Yeah, it's a 2-horse race, and much like it is for the Norris as well, as far as defensemen go. I lean Hughes. I lean Hughes because he played a little bit more. I think his impact on the Canucks was pretty palpable. It's a razor-thin margin, and I think you can make an argument for either guy. In Makar's case, it's a points per game argument. In Hughes' case, he stayed a little bit more healthy and played a little bit more. But in either case, you can't go wrong. And it's one of those awards where, sometimes you cast your vote for one guy and you feel the need to just destroy the other guy to justify your vote. In this case, I don't care. Vote in Makar, vote in Hughes. Either way, I think we're right that those are the two best rookies this year.
For sure.
Right.
So let's turn to next week. We're actually going to get some hockey going. The qualifying rounds, I'd imagine the Jets Flames probably going to be the most fun.
Well, going to be fun in the sense that, like, listen, all the people I've talked to, players, coaches, what have you, are all saying the same thing, which is that it is going to be a real anomaly to have this much time off, come back, have almost no preparation, jump into games. No one really knows what to expect. It could be fire wagon. It could be 8-7 games, or it could be teams really trying to shut it down and play a more conservative style because they know things can get a little out of hand. The Flames-Jets series, for me, is a bit depressing because you have to remember that we're coming back into these games inside of empty arenas. And if you talk about a series that, as a casual fan, say like in the United States, that you're going to tune into that series based on what the home crowds would have been like,
right?
The whiteouts in Winnipeg, the Sea of Red in Calgary, man, that would have been aesthetically one of the coolest series to watch. And I feel like we're kind of being robbed of it because they're playing in front of empty arenas. But from a gameplay perspective, it should be fun. All those first round series, I think, are going to be a lot of fun. I don't give the Canadiens much of a chance against the Penguins. I think the Carey Price effect in that series is a bit overstated. But almost every other series, you can make the case for an upset, including in that Chicago series, depending on the health of Corey Crawford. Just because I am somebody who, even though the numbers tell you otherwise, I'm a little bit wary of a veteran Chicago team and a short sprint 5-game series, maybe being able to muster up one more a good run against the team that I think probably should advance at Edmonton, but you don't know for sure.
Okay, I got a quick scoring update. A 2-run homer by Giancarlo Stanton, 2-0 Yankees.
All right. Nice. Did he get hurt rounding the bases?
No, he looks good. So
did he test positive for COVID rounding the bases? All right, we're good.
I saw someone with a swab chasing him, so I don't know. That could have been Dr. Fauci. So I don't know.
Going back to hockey, I'm really excited about best of 5 because it puts such a huge onus on the first game. You know, even when the Kings are in it, every playoff game is nail biting and nerve wracking, but in this situation, the first game, if you go down 1-0, it's a huge hole. You don't have time to build back up and regroup. That first game is going to be so important, and
yeah,
I'm excited to see what the level of, obviously the level of commitment's going to be there. But like we're talking about, these guys haven't played in 4 or 5 months, and
4-month layover in game 1 is so crucial. Is
that hard-nosed playoff? That they turn it up to volume 12. Are we going to notice it, or since we haven't had regular season hockey for the past 4 months? Anyway, it's going to be fascinating. I just can't wait.
Yeah, you're right. And so losing game 1 all of a sudden changes the math in the series in a pretty significant way, where your margin of error is gone. You can't go 2-0 down in a series that's a 5-game series, right? Like, you might be able to climb out under normal circumstances because you might be going back home for the next 2 games. All of a sudden it's tied 2-2, that kind of thing. This whole thing changes everything. Your point's taken about the motivation aspect of it. I've talked to a lot of players that are really questioning, look, I know how to get myself up for a game based on what the home crowd is doing. I know how to get myself up for a game based on what the road crowd is doing. I want to piss off those fans, right? So they're all trying to, right, exactly. Good job. Okay. So they're all trying to figure out how to do this in this bizarre vacuum sealed environment. And there's going to be bells and whistles and music and crowd noise and all kinds of stuff, but you can't manufacture those atmospheres in the bubble. And then the other interesting thing to your point, Michael, is that if you lose game 1 and you have 2 goaltenders, right?
Ooh,
like
right.
Say you're Vegas.
Yeah.
And Fleury's been really iffy all season. And then you go in and into, well, I guess they wouldn't necessarily affect them because they're in the round robin, but you get what I'm saying. If you're a team that has 2 capable goaltenders and you lose game 1, how quick is that
leash?
Leash, right? The Rangers, good example. Like, the Rangers, in theory, are going to start the Russian kid Shurkin in game 1, only because he's played so well. They lose game 1 to Carolina. How quickly do they go back to Lundqvist, or vice versa?
And
that's going to be a fascinating thing.
Pittsburgh with Murray and Tristan Jarry. That's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Varlamov and Grice, you can make that for all. There's a lot of teams with 2 capable goalies.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited. Let's go.
Honestly, we've talked about this every week now. This is our 7th episode, and like there was still this like all these plans for hockey, but it's like, are we still gonna get there? Now I really feel like we're gonna get there.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna get there physically. We'll be in the bubble, right? But I do think that
are you gonna be in the bubble?
Not at the start. At the start, I think it's been decided that this is going to be a real made-for-TV event. This sort of qualification round robin, and then as it gets later on, I think we'll head there. But it's going to be. I think the one thing we have to remember is that although the early returns have been good as far as testing for COVID with the NBA and with the NHL. NHL only 2 positive tests since the beginning of training camp. NBA no positive tests since the beginning of camp for them. And when we get to the bubble, it's going to be the same kind of thing. And in fact, even more so because there's going to be daily testing of everybody involved. Let's not counter chickens yet. Like, let's see what happens when we expand the field and all of a sudden it's people that are working in hotels that are being tested, vendors coming in. You know, a lot of people are going to be more involved in this process than they are now. And then the other thing too, and I wrote a story about this week on ESPN if you want to check it out, about like the idea of coaches being, you know, chaperones on a ski trip, let's say, for these guys all of a sudden.
Torts would be a great chaperone.
Yeah, well, I talked to him about it, and he said, look, we laid down the law pretty early with these guys to let them know that, you know, we're here to win a Stanley Cup. You know, we're not here for any drama. That was what he said. I want to believe that everybody is going to follow the protocols. I want to believe that that sort of, you know, hockey culture thing of not wanting to screw it up for the guy next to you, you know, is going to make everybody be on their best behavior. That said, we are looking at a 2.5-month ordeal for these guys that are going to be stuck in hotel rooms for a lot of the time. And you hope that they're going to be smart. You hope they're not going to break the protocols. You hope they're not going to go to the club at some point. And if that doesn't happen, then everybody I've talked to from a medical standpoint, medical experts, epidemiologists tell me, stay within the bubble, test with frequency, follow the protocols. We could pull this off. I just hope that everybody does that. Because if they don't, we might not be able to.
I'm mostly worried about the kids, the hockey players who do not play Fortnite or Call of Duty. They're fine. They're going to be.
Patrick Laine is going to be fine. He will not test positive.
3 o'clock in the morning, you know, just I'm fine. But
yeah. Well, the interesting thing, one of the guys I talked to for the story was Joel Quenneville, the coach of the Panthers, and he said, you know, at the start, the best deterrent to any of these guys doing something dumb is going to be watching hockey. Like the fact that we're going to have games from noon through like, you know, midnight every day. All these guys want to do is watch hockey. Like that's all they do is they're getting ready. So like, it's going to be the best deterrent to have all these games available. And they're going to be like lounges where they can hang out and watch the games together and the whole thing. So I think at the start, we can be pretty sure that they're not going to do anything dumb because they're all just going to want to sit around and watch hockey together.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. But Greg, thanks for a few minutes tonight. Go check out his work.
Hey, anytime.
The podcast is great with Emily Kaplan. Check it out as well. And we'll talk to you soon.
Go Mets.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care.
Take care.
All right.
Love that guy.
Really good. Greg has been so kind to us over the years. He came to our first live show when we were doing the Alice Bus podcast, and it's always great every time he comes on.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Nice guy. And it's still 2-0 Yankees. So
good. All right, we're gonna talk some baseball now, right?
Let's talk baseball. I mean, like we said, the season started tonight, and like, you know, it definitely proved me wrong. And
it hasn't been canceled yet.
It hasn't been canceled. They're still playing right now, and it's super exciting. Only 2 games tonight, but, you know, could have a potential World Series matchup with the 2 teams, Yankees and Nationals right now, potentially. And then the likely National League favorite, the Dodgers playing right now against the Giants later tonight. And who better to talk with it with Bill Laskey, former Giant pitcher and covers the Giants for the pre- and post-game radio. Bill, how's it going?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. How are you? East Coast bound, huh? I'm on the West Coast here. You guys are all on the East Coast. I'm
West Coast.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, Michael, don't let the Mets fans fool you. He is in California.
All right. I apologize.
He just makes poor choices. He just makes poor choices when it comes to baseball.
Well, he's wearing black and orange. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah, whatever.
All right. I thought it was a New York Giants hat. I'm wrong. All right.
It's better than the T-shirt he's wearing. So.
That T-shirt's awful. We hate. Yeah. Why are you trolling us? I just realized we're in a Maple Leaf shirt. I would have never let that go through. I can't believe
I like hockey. I don't care what the team is.
We are not fans of the Maple Leafs.
I know.
Yeah. All right, let's talk baseball though. Okay, so there's obviously a lot to talk about here with the season perilously starting with the big news, Soto testing positive. What do you expect tonight when the Giants and Dodgers finally get together? Obviously, there's so much to talk about in this game, but we'll just start with the health wise. How do you feel the players will adjust to this? A, having no fans in the stands, and B, being tested and wearing masks for games.
Well, I've been watching it out here as they played Oakland the last couple of days, and it's been pretty safe. I've been watching it pretty regularly, but I hope you guys know Kershaw got scratched today because of stiff back wrist. We all know that. Yep. And now they're going to start a young pitcher, Dustin May, so a lot of pressure on him right out of the box. This lineup the Dodgers throw out there, it's just so powerful. It's just one after another. When you got Peterson hitting 7, Pollock hitting 8. These guys could be 4 or 5 in any lineup. So it's going to really depend on if they can slow this offense down with Johnny Cueto tonight.
How would you pitch to this lineup?
Very carefully. That's too tough. It's too tough. I mean, it really is. When the Dodgers used to have Say, Lopes, Garvey, powerful lineups out there, Sosha, Dusty Baker. I mean, those lineups were tough. This lineup right here, you can go deep when you got Muncy hitting leadoff. So it is this a tough lineup. Kershaw's not going to be missed when you can spot 4, 5, 6 runs on any opponent. And I think that's literally how the teams are going to have to slow them down if they can get them 3 or less, because it's going to be real difficult to shut this team out.
Right. And then they add Mookie Betts for not only this year, but another decade. So that lineup's going to be solid for quite some time. But talk about a little bit of your team. A lot of stuff off the field right now. Gabe Kapler, took a knee for the national anthem. I thought that was fantastic. The first female first base coach, which is also great. How's everything going with the Giants right now?
Well, you got a young team, no doubt about it. We're going to test some new faces, as well as Longoria and Belt both injured leading off tonight. So, and we all know Buster Posey stepped away, adopted 2 little girls, and he felt that it was time for him to take the year off. So really, Buster Posey's been your captain of this team for so many years. And you go to the bullpen, you got so many untested arms down there, and they still don't know who the closer is. So, I mean, Gabe Kapler right now with Farhan Zaidi, they are just literally putting everybody in any position they can, and they're going to use multiple lineups every day. And that's the scenario of this whole new regime coming in when Bruce Bochy and Brian Sabian won 3 World Series. So we got to let it take place. You have to give them an opportunity. They had a good spring training. The last 2 games they played really well against the A's. And we're just going to see today. But, boy, I tell you what, you got a big bear you got to poke tonight, and you got him for 4 straight games leading off the season. So it's going to be a challenge. And what Gabe Kapler's done, he threw Cueto out there, and he's got TBA for the next 3 starts. So we don't know who he's going to throw out there. You got Smiley, you got Samardzija, a couple opportunities. And then the 5th spot, you're going to probably have a rookie. And these things are all good tests for the Giants right now, because they do have a great young nucleus of minor leaguers. And the one guy that's really opened my eyes is Joey Bart, who was the #1 pick a couple of years ago. And he just came into this spring training too and knocked the cover off the ball. I'm just wondering why he isn't there tonight in a role of a catcher. But they tell me, as well as all the other reporters, he'll be back. He'll be up soon. So they have plans, and these plans are all in set plans by the baseball operation guys, as well as Gabe Kapler and his staff.
I had a question for you, for someone who's played in front of packed stadiums in your career. For these rookies coming up, will the absence of fans make it, in some cases, a little less pressure packed for them? Or they're not just, I've got to make a good first impression, and that won't be so much an issue?
I don't think it's going to be the rookies. I think it's the veterans that are going to be a little different without the fans. They're used to the 30, 40,000 fans. The rookies are literally just up there with eyes open and wondering, how am I going to play and see if I can be successful. So I'm going to flip that. I think the veterans are going to be bothered by that. And I was just watching a Nationals and Yankee game, and I saw that ball Stanton hit. He hit it over 450 feet. And I'm just like, and there was nobody, there was no crowd noise, no nothing. But, I mean, I don't think the players are really going to be bothered by it because they're so intense in these games. And Scherzer's throwing over 95, and he knocked the cover off the ball. It'll just be different, but they'll adapt to it. But I believe it's the veterans that are going to be bothered with no fans rather than the rookies.
Now,
go ahead.
So the home run and ball goes in Covey Cove. Are there going to be a bunch of kayaks this year, or is that like banned?
Oh no, they were out there the other night. They were,
nice.
And there were 6 or 7 of them, and you know what? That's what's the fun about McCovey Cove. You get boats out there, you get a lot of kayaks, a lot of Giant fans, and they were even standing on the sidewalk out there with their radios on, listening to Fleming and John Miller, and just waiting for a ball to pop out of there. But you know what they did, and I don't know if you guys got to see this, Oracle Park, they closed all the knot holes in right field, which now the ball's starting to carry more in the right field. We had a couple balls that were fly balls that got out of the park. And there is a difference when you cut that air circulation on the field because the ball now travels quicker. So keep an eye on that as the season goes on.
Before we move on, I want to piggyback. Michael, that was a good point about the rookies and veterans with no crowd. Do you think that helps the Astros after everything they've been through, not having to deal with getting heckled by crowds every game?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, every fan in Major League Baseball was going to heckle these guys. I think they were blessed by the COVID, if you want to say that. I mean,
they should have known it was coming, right?
It's kind of weird, but you can say they were happy when that happened with no fans. And of course, MLB doesn't want any brawls on the field. So you know what? They're going to take some beanballs in their back and their legs and their hips, and they can't do anything about it but accept it and move on. They're cheaters. I'll say it 100 times. When you cheat, now you got caught. Now you're going to take the ramifications of being a cheater.
100%.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the announcement earlier this evening that you're going to expand the playoffs, 16 teams, that have benefit the Giants this year. So the whole perspective of the season must have changed.
Yeah, the NL West is such a competitive league. You got Arizona and my buddy Madison Bumgarner starting against the Padres. That's going to be a great matchup. San Diego Padres just have such a strong team, a new manager down there. And don't push the Colorado Rockies out. Colorado Rockies play a very good brand of baseball. The NL West is always going to be a competition league, no doubt. Of course, you can't beat the Dodgers. They've won it 8 straight years. But again, when you look at the NL West, now we have to play the AL West, which is one of the strongest AL standings. And that's what's going to be real competitive in a 60-game sprint.
I feel like the Central really caught a break playing each other for 60 games.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. I think both sides, and watching the Reds and everything that they've done over the winter, I think they're a real strong team, along with the Chicago White Sox. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these young guys play for the White Sox. But watch out for those Reds. They got a good team this year.
Yeah. And before we let you go, you just talk a little about your website, bigleaguecoaching.pro.
Yeah, over the last 3-4 months, I get along with a lot of us. I had good friends and teammates through the game of baseball, and a lot of these guys coach in the minor leagues and the big leagues. Joe Youngblood, 18 years with the Diamondbacks, and he was also with the Reds. Mark Davis is still a Cy Young winner back in the 80s with the Padres, and he's been a pitching coordinator with the Royals. Brian Harper, another one that was a manager in the AAA. So we got together and we started talking about teaching baseball and put this all together, and it's called bigleaguecoaching.pro, bigleaguecoaching.pro. Take a look at it. And what we did is we made videos, 45 minutes to an hour videos with a host, and we kind of broke down a lot of the different areas of baseball, from catching, fielding, base running, hitting, pitching, all different grips, all different type of thoughts. And then we added Eric Ortega, who's been the strength and conditioning trainer for the Giants the last 15 years. So he did a lot of injury prevention videos to talk about legs, obliques, shoulders, and then also did some conditioning. So what we did is we threw it out there for people to take a peek at. We threw an introductory offer out there for opening day, 2 videos for the price of 1. Take a look at it. Some real good baseball talk from big leaguers. And you see a lot of videos and you see a lot of things from college coaches and high school coaches. But there is a difference of knowledge and a different way to teach it. And I'd love to have your viewers take a peek at it. BigLeagueCoaching.pro. It's really cool and a lot of good knowledge from a lot of great big leaguers.
Such a great idea, too.
Especially now, with not being able to go out to an actual field in some cases. This is fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of times out here in California, they literally lock down all the fields, but you can do a lot of this stuff in your backyard, especially with your dad, your brother. There's so many different things we teach, and these are things that are teaching videos, and that's one of the big things. We always say, hey, bring your paper and pencil, and there's so many different things. Joel Youngblood breaks down hitting so well, and he was a hitting coach for many years with the Diamondbacks in their minor leagues, and really has turned around a lot of guys in different aspects of the game. Mark Davis, I keep going back to Mark as our Cy Young winner. He talks about analytics of pitching, spin rates, and how you can improve that with different drills. Gary Davenport, Jimmy Davenport's son, 15 years as the minor league infield coordinator with the Giants, shows so many different drills that you can do in your backyard. And it's just phenomenal stuff. When we put our roundtable together in February, I couldn't write down enough because it was just coming out. It was just spurting out of everybody. And so I said, let's build this thing and throw it out there. We've been out a week. A lot of people coming to the webpage. We're getting some hits here and there, but I'm glad I got to talk about it with you gentlemen today. And for your fans out there, once again, it's called BigLeagueCoaching.pro. Jump on there, take a peek at it. And I hope to see you guys there.
Definitely. Noel and I will tweet it out too, guys. So if you're watching, just head to our Twitter accounts and we'll tweet it out after the show. Bill, thank you so much for coming on. We hope to have you on again during the course of the season.
Anytime, gentlemen. Take care of yourself and be safe, all right?
Thanks, Bill. You too.
We'll take it.
That sounds
very
like
good.
Shit.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm 51, so I have no reason to, practice any baseball drills, but I want to see that. The depth of knowledge. I've always wondered, what does a batting coach really have to offer a big leaguer? If you've made it to the big leagues, you probably don't know how to hit. But there's obviously different layers and different ways of tweaking things that sounds fascinating.
Also, maybe too against different kind of pitching and pitchers too. That I think that where a batting coach comes in. Like, look, it's you're going to have to take this guy to left center. You can't try, little things like that. I would think too. Yeah. We'll tweet it out too. I want to check that out. That looks great.
Because sometimes in the swing you can't know that you have a hitch in your swing or
right.
Someone's watching. So it's a good thing to pick up. But check out it's like the updated Tom Amansky videos.
Exactly.
Bubble,
hey, Tom Amansky's still alive. I looked it up the other day. He's still alive.
Wow.
Maybe we can get him on the show too.
That'd be great. But so let's continue our baseball conversation. We kind of did a little over-under,
Over-under. Oh, by the way, Mike Francesa is retiring again tomorrow. Tomorrow is, again, his last show for the 3rd time.
He retires more than the Rolling Stones. I mean, it's great.
I know, right?
Yeah. But, so we did a couple here. We'll start with wins for a couple teams. I guess you can say the National League favorites who are playing Bill's team, the Giants, LA Dodgers. I mean, this has to be their year, you would think, right? 8 years in a row in the division. They made it to the World Series a couple times. We'll set the wins 45.5. That's a lot.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm going to say 100.
I instantly wanted to say over, but Bill brought up a great point that they have to play the NL West, so they got to play the Astros. The Angels are going to be better. The A's are pretty good too. I'm going to go under as well. Not much though. I think they win 40 to 42 games.
Yeah, I'm going to go under too because in the news with Kershaw being, I know the lineup's stacked, but losing pitcher is going to hurt. And Dustin May, you don't know what you're going to get from a rookie.
He looks like he's going to be pretty good though. May looks like he has good stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely a good pitcher. 41, 42. That's not nothing to
No, it's not.
Right. Yeah. And plus, they're making playoffs anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
That's a good point. Right. Just get healthy for the playoffs now.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the American League favorite would be the Yankees. It's amazing what they did last year, 103 wins, but everyone was hurt. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now you get a healthy Stanton. I mean, the break really helped the Yankees more than I think any other team. James Paxton.
Yeah, you got Hicks, Judge, Stanton, and Paxton all healthy because during the break they would not have been ready.
Right. Aaron Hicks had Tommy John surgery, didn't miss a game. So
right.
That's pretty wild. We set it at 40.5.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna say 41. So I'll stay over.
You're gonna say over. I'm gonna say under. I think 40 sounds right.
Yeah.
Because the NL East is nothing to sneeze at with the Braves and the Nats and the Phillies and the Mets, all good teams. And the Marlins I think will be better this year. They're not good yet, but I don't think the Marlins are pushovers anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's a tough. I think I'm gonna take the under.
I will too, but it's a World Series or bust season for the Yankees.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. You should the Orioles a bunch of times. So that's
Gleyber Torres already has 7 home runs against the Orioles.
Exactly.
The Mets play the Orioles twice, and we play the Yankees like 19 times. It's completely
perfect.
Speaking of the Mets, I mean, this year, it's pretty promising for the Mets. They'll make the playoffs because, like we said, everyone's making the playoffs. So congrats, Michael. So we set it at 35.5 wins. We'll let you go first.
There's such a huge question mark with the bullpen with Edwin Diaz and Familia and Betances is a complete unknown. He didn't play at all last year. Yeah, he had played one game and tore his Achilles. So
right, his arm should be healthy.
Yeah, 35.5. I'm gonna go over. What the hell? We can hit. The boys can hit.
Okay.
I think the DH is a team that helps the Mets. Will help the Mets so much,
100%.
So much.
With
all that being said, I'm going to take the under. Not by much, though. Not by much. I think they're going to be around 32-28, 33-27, somewhere around there. And I think that obviously still get them in the playoffs.
Yeah, of course. The problem with the Mets, obviously, is always injuries. I mean, Stroman, Betances is always a slow starter. And a 60-game season is really going to.
They can't do that now.
Exactly, and Diaz. Who knows with Diaz? I mean, the lineup I think is strong enough where I think they'll hit. Cano just hitting, I think will be okay.
Or Cespedes or Dom Smith. They have lots of options where they can get those bats, and that's a good lineup. It's a very good lineup.
Right. That being said, I'm going to take the under. I think it's going to be like right around 34.
Yeah, and there are a lot of J.D. Davis and Jeff McNeil. Who knows what kind they had. Great years.
Yeah. Bordeaux can play. That's a good lineup.
Yeah.
Brendan Nemo needs to maybe take his game where everyone thinks it can be. Pete Alonso obviously is Pete Alonso, but we'll see. I mean, I'm excited. I'm really digging the new playoff format, though.
I figured you would, yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah. Speaking of probably one of the only 2 teams who won't make the playoffs, the Baltimore Orioles, and we set it at 9.5. So figure they play the Orioles. The Mets play the Orioles twice. That's 2 wins for the Orioles right there.
Oh, suck it.
Yeah. So 9.5 over under.
I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go
under. I think 9 wins. This team is really bad.
They're really bad.
And look who they have to play. I mean, it's like if they were in the Central, I think maybe they win 16, 17 games.
Yeah.
Well, you get the NL East, the AL East. I can't see this. I can't find the route to 10 wins.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to look really bad too.
I'm going to be different. I'll say over, and I'm just going to say 10.
Okay.
10 and 50. That's a nice even record. So we'll go from there.
All right, let's get to trivia.
Yeah, trivia.
Trivia. All right, boys.
Trivia.
Today's trivia is New York Islanders jersey numbers. So I pulled up here every number from 1 to 98, because 99 is retired.
Right, 1 to 98.
And so you just have to name one player who has worn that number, and we're going to go sequentially. I'm going to flip. I'm going to flip a coin, which I don't have, so you're just going to have to guess what hand something's in. Which is my LA Kings poker chip. It's very cool. So whoever wins the toss gets to choose if they want to go first or second. Obviously, odds or evens. So Noel, since you won last week, what hand is the chip in?
I'm going to say your left hand.
That is correct. It is in my left hand. So you get to choose if you want to go first or defer to Dan.
All right. I will. I'll start it off, Dan. And I'll say obviously number 1.
Okay. Good luck. This is hard.
Eric Fischel, number 1.
Number 1. Wait, who?
Eric Fisho.
Yes.
Future.
Correct.
He's trying to be cute.
Like, no, seriously, I was like, wait.
Just you wait, buddy. Just you wait.
Not Thomas Grice? Come on.
He couldn't just say Thomas Grice to make it easy on you. I mean, that's
I'm
bullshit,
gonna be
honestly. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and stay current to make it easier on you.
Number 2.
With that being said, I'm going to go back a few years. Number 2, Mark Streit.
Who?
Mark Streit.
Yes. I was kidding.
Okay.
I got scared.
So,
Great.
Tony Esposito didn't play with the Islanders, so I don't have to worry about him this week. So I'm going to say number 3, Gord Dineen. I'm number 2, Gord Dineen. Number 2. Sorry. Right?
We're doing number 3. You're doing number 3.
I'm number 2.
Yeah, I already just did number 2. You're doing number 3. That's how it works sequentially.
Travis Hamonic. Sorry. Number 3.
Nice.
Number
4. Number 4, Thomas Hickey.
Correct, sir. Number 5.
Dennis Potvin.
Yes.
Went on a limb there. Number 6, Ryan Pollock.
Correct.
Number 7, I'm going to say Trent Hunter.
Yes, I would have went Trent Hunter too. T-Dog.
Nice. Number 8.
Number 8, the guy who got us Matthew Barzell, Griffin Reinhart.
Whoa.
Good one.
I was thinking Bruno Gervais off the top of my head, but I was like, no, I think Griffin Reinhart wore number 8.
Okay, well, obviously number 9. I'm not going to say this asshole, so I'll say Jeff, or I'll say Clark Gillies.
Yeah.
You're getting all the retired numbers. How easy is this?
The right hand.
Number 10. Number 10, Richard Park.
Richard Park. Yes, nice.
Scored every time I went to an Islanders game. He always scored.
Yeah.
Wow.
So number 11, Darius Kasparidis.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Number 12.
Oh, number 12. Hey, Josh Bailey.
13 is easy, so you're going to try and go obscure, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Yeah, he's going to go like Colin McDonald.
Oh, thank you. You name him for me. Okay, so since you named Colin McDonald, I guess I'll go Matt Barzell.
Okay, nice. I thought you would Jaron for sure.
Yeah, Bill Guerin.
14. Wait. I got good. This is good. Ready? 14 is also Thomas Hickey.
That is correct.
Right?
Yes. I used them twice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Way to go.
Yeah. I think like Steve Webb, I think it's 7 numbers, so you can probably name him like a bunch of times.
Absolutely.
15, Brad Delgarno.
Wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that one.
Never even heard of him.
Wow. Well, I'm going to take a layup here on 16. The great Pat LaFontaine.
Yes. I didn't even have to look at the list, which is good.
Yeah. What you gonna say, like Andrew Ladd or something?
I was thinking John Sim wore 16. There have been a lot of Marty Reisner wore 16.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad 16 since LaFontaine.
Exactly. So 17. I'm not gonna go Matt Martin, of course. So I will say.
I know you're going.
You know where I'm going?
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Penalty shot.
Yeah, you're right, Sean Bates.
Thank you.
18.
Anthony Pavillier.
Correct. 19.
19. All right. Hey, Trotty.
You got all the retired numbers.
Coming up. Don't worry.
One other 19. There's only one other 19. Craig Cameron back in 73, 75.
Okay.
Did not know that.
Number 20.
One of my favorite players back in the day, Sean Birkenheim.
Nice.
Yes, correct. 21.
All right, 21. I mean, you can go a bunch of different ways. You know, obviously you can mention Lucas Spiza, which I'm not going to do.
I didn't remember that one.
I will say Brent Sutter.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
I would have went Kyle Oposo.
Yeah.
22.
Finally, Mike Bossy.
Yeah.
23.
All right, I'm going to change it up a little bit because I can go, what's called nicer. I'm going to say Vladimir Malakoff.
Wow. Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. 24. Man,
okay, I'll go with a European player as well, Radek Martinic.
Radek Martinic.
Definitely worth 24.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to go with another European, 25, scored one of the biggest goals in Islander history, David Volek.
Who?
David Volek.
Yes, correct.
I would have went with Quinnipiac's own Devontae's.
Yeah, let's do it.
26.
26, Matty Ice, Matt Molson.
Nice.
I thought you were going Tyler Kennedy there. Sorry.
Tyler, oh my God, I forgot Tyler Kennedy was an Islander. That was not good.
No. All right.
27.
Another retired number, Johnson Elliott.
Played for the
Unbelievable.
27.
Yeah.
28.
Michael Duck Hole.
Yes. 29.
29. A member of the Islanders Hall of Fame, Kenny Johnson.
Nicely done. 30. We're gonna get it.
D-roll,
Interesting.
Dwayne Rolson.
Yes, correct. 31.
Another retired number. Billy Smith.
He's the only one. He's the only one to have ever worn 31 for the Islanders.
Wow, that's a good little nugget. So I have 32.
32.
Yeah.
Oh! One of my favorite players of the '90s, Steve Thomas.
Yeah.
Thomas, indeed. 33.
I'll pick up on that. One of my favorite players from the 90s, Benoit Hogue.
I love Benoit Hogue. There was a place in Long Island East Coast that had a Benoit Hoagie. It was fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was a good player. Loved him. 34.
34. Obscure goalie time. Got them into the playoffs. Very wee man, Wade Dubowitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. Well, I thought you were going to pull out another Thomas Hickey.
Yeah.
I would use him again. Oh, wait, he wore – that's right. I could have. Yeah. Damn it.
I thought you go easier there.
Oh.
I'm going another goalie who carried the honors in 93, Glenn Healy.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, a former guest. What are we up to?
36.
36.
I think you were 36. Gary Nyland.
Ooh, how's it going?
Nice.
Yeah.
The only guy I could think of that wore 36, or wore like this is starting to get really hard.
You're going to say Eric Bolton.
Oh yeah, he wore a couple numbers.
All right. I mean, 37. I mean, he's not retired, but it's number should be.
It should be retired.
He's right. Brian Strait.
Yep.
Yeah.
38.
Former podcast guest Dave Scatchard.
Indeed. You guys are good at this.
Yeah.
39.
Rick DiPietro.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now we're getting into the dreaded 40s.
Now it's gonna get really hard. I know 40's not that hard though. 40's not hard. Michael Grabner.
Hard, but it's gonna get hard.
Yeah, Michael Grabner for 40.
Okay.
Nice. 41. Only 4 players have worn this number.
Yep. Yaroslav Halak.
Correct.
Right. That's a good one.
42.
I think he wore this his rookie year. A man who has me and Noel blocked on Twitter.
Yes, he does.
Scotty Mayfield.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Why, Scotty? Why?
Why? We never said shit about you. Why are we blocked?
We love you, Scotty.
You've said plenty of shit about many Islanders, not him. I have no idea why we're blocked by him.
All right,
Like, I usually know why I'm blocked by somebody. Like Pat Leonard, I was a complete douche to that guy. I understand why he has me blocked.
Right.
I never say anything to Scotty Mayfield.
All right, 43. I got to say the right first name here. Martin Baron.
Oh.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. See, I'm glad you went. I would not have gotten a 43. I know double fours, though. Let's go with Calvin DeHaan.
Yeah.
Yes, nicely done. 45.
I know 145. I have his jersey. Yeah.
Oh. I mentioned
Shit, I should have said that.
No, I mentioned this guy in our meeting the other day.
I don't have that jersey.
Aaron Asham.
Damn it.
46.
I have for 45. I have an Anders Nilsson jersey
Okay.
from when he was in Bridgeport. Yeah. 46. One of my boys down in Bridgeport, Matt Donovan.
Yeah, Sasquatch.
Yep.
47. This guy played. He was in Bridgeport a lot. Andrew McDonald.
Yes. I actually knew 47, Rich Pilon.
Yes.
Yes.
48.
Oh, shit.
For the record, I've never heard of any of these. No, that's not true.
You should know this one, Dan. I'll give you a hint. Your school, Bridgeport, played a couple games with the Islanders.
Oh, you're helping me. I don't know how I feel about that. Well, I don't. There's no way I'm going to get a 50. So I was going to say, okay, Connor Jones.
There you go. Very good.
I was going to say Rhett Rikshani. Did he wear 48?
Whoa.
Rhett Rikshani?
No.
Okay, so I would have lost. Thanks, Noel.
All right.
Well, Warren Ludwig, Luning, Claude Lapointe, Steve Regier.
I should have got Claude Lapointe.
49.
This one I know because this guy was such a, I want to say goon, but an enforcer. Mitch Fritz.
Oh, he's a thug.
Yeah.
Who?
Mitch Fritz.
Oh, I was thinking of a different thug. I was thinking of Eric Goddard.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're at 50. Has anyone ever worn 50?
Yeah.
Three players have worn 50.
He's on the Islanders now.
Stop giving him hints.
I know. Why are you giving hints?
Seriously, what are you doing?
There's a 50 on the Islanders right now.
Well, it used to be 50.
So he had to change his number.
Right.
Well, apparently there's a 50 on the Islanders right now, but he's probably in the A or somewhere else.
You know a 50?
I did.
Shit.
One more hint or no?
Sure. Yeah.
We interviewed him in Bridgeport.
No, you can't. This game's going to go on forever if you keep giving him hints.
I'm done.
I recently interviewed him in Bridgeport?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
A couple of years ago. I got nothing. I'm going to take a guess here. If we interviewed him a couple of years ago, it's probably a defenseman. Yeah, I'm drawing blanks here. I'm going to say Adam Pellick.
Yes.
Oh, my God. No, thank you.
You're welcome.
I should have lost. There's no way I'm going to get 52. I'm bound to lose here. You got 51. It's basically a retired number.
Franz Nielsen.
Yeah,
Franz. Anyone wear 52?
Oh, yeah. I'm not telling you. I'm done with that. No more hints.
All right.
5 players.
5 players. I know he wore a 50-something. My only guess here, I think I'm going to – either this is going to be amazing or we're going to bow to null. Nathan Lawson.
Yes.
Yes! Oh, I pulled that out of my ass.
Oh, my God.
53.
Oh, my God.
Casey.
Oh, you get the easiest numbers.
54. Only
This
3
is
players.
rigged.
54. Only 3 players have worn this number.
Do you know 54?
Don't ask for hints.
I'm not. No more hints. No, we're done with hints.
I might, but I'm not 100% sure.
54. I got to think of it's got to be like a minor league guy that got called up from Bridgeport. I'm going to go with Steve Rieger.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
All right. That was a good run. Who wore 54?
I'm going to
Kip
Kit Miller.
Miller.
I was going to say.
Kip Miller, Rob Collins, and Curtis McLean.
Curtis.
All right. Oh, Curtis. I remember Curtis.
All right.
Damn
Good
it.
job, though. I mean, you guys got up to the 54. That's impressive. That is.
I actually wanted to use – I should have used Josh Hosek at 26, and I wanted to use him again at 66.
Good
Yeah.
job.
And I really wanted to get to 91 because I wanted to say Butch Goring.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Yeah. And definitely want to say Pierre-Marc Bouchard to close it out.
He was 98, right?
Either was he 96, I think, or
He
98?
was 96. I don't know who 98 was. There was a 98. What was Mike Connery? 89?
There was no 98.
Okay.
Mike Connery was 89, yeah.
And then 93 would be Dougie Waite.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
94 was Ryan Smith.
Right. Well, briefly.
Yeah.
All right. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Good show, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
Next week we're doing Kings numbers now.
Cool. You know what? I can get into the 50s with the Kings easily.
That was a good question. That was a good question, Michael. Very good.
Made me think.
I figured you knew your team, so.
Yeah.
We do. It's disgusting. I can't believe I've got Nathan Lawson. That was
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Nathan Lawson. Yeah.
So it's now. Wait, I don't know how to do this. I'd be a terrible weatherman. 4, 2, and 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't you have 2?
I have 1.
4, 2, 1. You're right. That's right. This is week 7. You have 3.
Yeah.
I think I have 3. I think it's 3, 3, 1.
You
No,
know,
I lost twice. So it's got to be 4, 3, 1.
it's gonna
We'll do the math later. Don't worry about it. We're just confusing everyone.
we have a week.
I might or might not be back next week. Whatever.
Real quick before we go, let's have the live comments here. Lori saying the sheer amount of Islander knowledge is impressive. It's also a little sad, if I might add. Townie Irish says because we both suck. That's also very fair. Eva says it's just she's impressed with the knowledge. Just shows how passionate we are about sports, which is very cool to watch. Also because we also really sucked at sports, which is probably why we know this much. And Michelle says, thank you, guys. Thank you, Michelle. We would thank everyone else for watching today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we got an action-packed show because next week, before we go, next week will be a Stanley Cup playoff preview edition.
Woohoo! Can't wait.